So Nagaland is all set to host the South Asian Athletic Federation cross-country race and also the National Cross-Country Championships. Today I'm here at the Nagaland Olympic Association joined by Mr. Metha, who is the Associate Vice President of the Athletics Federation of India and also the advisor of the Chief Minister of Nagaland. So let's hear it from the men about how our state is preparing for the championships and how potentially an event of this magnitude could change the fate of sportsperson here in the state. So thanks for joining me, Mr. Metha. I'll straight away ask you the question, how is our state preparing? How do you think an event like this is going to change the course of history for our state?
Thank you very much. At the very outset, I must say a big thank you on behalf of the state to the Athletic Federation of India and to the South Asian Athletic Federation for allocating Nagaland as the host state and Kohima as the host city for this really, really big event. This South Asian cross-country championship is perhaps going to be Nagaland's biggest ever sports event in our a little over 50 years of statehood. We're going to have participants from 7 South Asian countries. We're going to have participants from every corner of the country. Perhaps 800 to 1,000 athletes will assemble in Kohima. The top administrators and sportspersons of the country will assemble in Nagaland. So Nagaland and the Nagaland Olympic fraternity is looking forward to welcome the sports fraternity of the country of South Asia to Kohima. And we're looking forward to a grand event. And yes, we are all prepared and set to host it in a grand manner. You're aware that it was supposed to be last month, but because of the COVID restrictions and the third wave and the lockdown, we could not host it and we've postponed it. So now once again, we're all set. Arrangements are well into its final stages. And we are ready to host perhaps a very unique, a very big event, and an event that's going to be a landmark and an historic milestone in the history of Nagaland's sports and perhaps in the history of the state itself.
So we're going to have some of the greatest runners here, witness some of the greatest runners. Tell us a little bit more about the championships. What are the kind of people we're expecting? The kind of races that's going to be held. Where is it going to be held?
See, the Indian team for the World, Asian and Commonwealth Championships of Cross Country will be selected from this event. Winners in the nationals will be selected to represent India at various age levels, under 16, under 18, under 20 and senior level. So it is a very, very important event. Dreams and aspirations are going to be built on this event. Young kids, runners who run here are going to represent India at world and Asian level. They're going to become international champions. So the foundations of future champions are going to be laid here. That's one. But apart from that, we are also going to have some of the biggest names in Indian sport come and motivate these youngsters. The president of the Athletic Federation of India, Mr. Adil Sumariwala, he himself is an Olympian and a former sprinter. He'll be here to guide the event. We are expecting Anju Bobby George, former world champion long jumper, to join us. The legendary and iconic P.T. Usha is going to come and motivate the youngsters. So it's going to be a festival of sport, a festival for running, an event where champions are going to be made, an event where champions are going to come and motivate the youngsters. So all in all, it's going to be a fantastic event.
So I believe it's happening at the IG Stadium. It's kicking off at the IG Stadium. Tell us about the races.
Yeah, so the one and only multi-sports complex that we have is the Indira Gandhi Stadium here in Kohima. So the event will be centered around there, and there will be different races from under 16 to seniors, ranging from 2-kilometer races to 10-kilometer races, as per guidelines of World Athletics. And it will be, as I said, centered around Kohima. Runners will run on the streets in and around that area. And we will also have curtain raisers. We will have trials for Nagaland team, coaching camp for Nagaland team. High performance coach will come from outside and train our Nagaland team so that they can perform well at these championships.
Talking about the trials for Nagaland, so far what's the status of the preparation for Team Nagaland and how many players?
See, we had a full-fledged coaching camp earlier for a month and a half, but the event got postponed. So all that training, unfortunately did not materialize into an event. Again, we're going to have trials on 2nd March, where all those who were earlier selected and also giving an opportunity to those athletes who could not participate in the earlier trials, we will again have on 2nd March And from the next day onwards, the selected shortlisted athletes will join an intensive coaching camp under our coaches. And at the end of the coaching camp, the Nagaland team, the Nagaland contingent will be announced. So we are at that level. To be quite frank, this is a very new event for us. Nagaland has not participated in various cross-country championships in the past. And our athletes are not experienced at that highest level. The plus point is that we have a national and an international event coming to our own backyard, to our own stadium. That is the home advantage they will have. But at the competition level, we are going to have the best athletes of the country and the region, international athletes coming here. So I would not run my expectations too high. I would want our youngsters to gain from the experience, to learn from participating in this, and reach out for higher goals in future.
I'm just guessing, the weather here in Nagaland could be, could it hamper some of the players in any way, like people coming in from different parts of the world. Do you have any tips, advices for players?
First of all, it's going to be a high altitude race because Kohima being a hill station. As I said, that's going to be home advantage. But sports events are played in different locations and venues around the world. Sometimes you'll play in low altitude, in hot and humid places. We were supposed to have the event in February, which would have been pretty cold and very chilly. But in March, I think the weather will change a bit. It could be more windy, as we all know. But sports persons are expected to adapt. I am told many teams are arriving earlier than scheduled so that they adapt and acclimatize with the local weather. But yes, it's going to be a bit chilly perhaps, and windy, and God willing, no rain.
Would you mind telling us, how's the budget allocation for the championships made and how much Nagaland's investing on it also?
So our primary sponsor, as always, and under the given circumstances, is the government of Nagaland. We are very thankful to the Chief Minister and the state government for coming forward and sponsoring this event, supporting this event, and giving us the mandate to bid for it. So that's the first part. As far as the budget is concerned, you see, we are having organizational and logistical challenges in various aspects. We are also, as organizers, expected to pay the airfares and the accommodation and the logistics for the international teams. We have to extend accommodation and local hospitality to close to 1,000 plus. So that budget element is being worked out. Today itself we had a meeting, and within a week we should have a fair idea how the budget allocation will be. But it will be most probably in the vicinity of maybe 4 to 5 crores, most probably. But that's not a final figure. I'm just assuming, considering past events. Events we've held and the budget of previous championships. Yeah.
One final question from the government perspective. Why hosting an international event like this is important for a state like Nagaland?
It is very, very important. I mean, we have to bring big events here. We have to up our game in organizing sports events. We have to give opportunities to our youngsters. It's not every day that a national event, an international event is brought to your own backyard. You have to travel 1,000 miles to participate in this. You have to qualify for these events. But when you are the host state, you get direct entries even though you have not qualified. That experience is priceless. Dozens of our athletes who otherwise would not have qualified for this event will get direct entry and wildcard entries into these championships. So irrespective of whether they perform well or not, they will have a national, international experience in their own backyard. Moreover, from the administrative point of view, if we don't organize such events, how can we dream of bringing bigger events in future? Nagaland has the dream of, in future, organizing Northeast Olympics, national games, and why not? This is the ambition and this is the aspiration of Naga youth. So we've got to start somewhere. But I think it's a big step that we're taking today to host an international event. So it's a big step forward. And as I said earlier, it's going to be historic, not only for the sports fraternity, but for Nagaland as a whole.
Thank you so much for joining me. So Nagaland has big dreams to fulfill for its sports persons, and this championship, which is to be held, or which will be conducted on March 26th, looks like it's going to start to mark something new, the beginning of something new for the state. I'm Madeline Yambrosha with EastMojo from Kohima.